If you want to start getting into avatar creation but don't quite feel you're ready to make your own custom, a great way to get into it is by customizing an existing model. I'll show you how to do a head swap, then add clothes and a hairstyle non-destructively, then edit the pre-existing animations to be compatible with the new items. I'm using a shirt and skirt for this, but the process is the same for any type of clothing or accessory. I hope you enjoy this slow, long-form content as I'm experimenting with new things. So with that, let's get started. Hi guys! So you'll notice right away we've got a different setup here. And this feels very weird. I'm looking at it on my other screen. So I did have some comments on previous videos where my model that I was showing off in the corner over here. Oh no, I need to flip the camera over here. The camera, the little me right here was really low quality, and it was. I don't know how to convert to VRM well. I know some people can. I cannot. So I did what I could. And there are a lot of people saying it wasn't great, and they're right. So what this is it's a complicated setup. If you're curious, otherwise skip to this timestamp. I'm using DroidCam for the webcam for facial expression in VRChat. I'm using Spout 2 OBS plugins, so that way I can use the desktop streamer camera. And then I'm using LiveLink on another mobile device for the face tracking. So a lot going on here, but it does look a lot better. This is freaking me out. I don't like that. Anyways, moving on. So I want to talk about editing avatars. You might not feel like you're ready to make a custom model, which for the record, it's really easy, and I encourage anyone who's even slightly interested to give it a try. I have a video documenting how to make a custom avatar with kit bashed items, and as long as you get clothing that's specifically rigged to a base, it's super easy, and you should give it a try, especially with how many free assets are on the market nowadays. But let's say you're not fully committed to making a custom, so you might prefer just buying an avatar on the market and editing it to feel more like a custom, if it's something as simple as changing the hair color or adding new clothes. But from my experience, anytime you add clothes to an avatar in Blender and then you re-import it back into Unity, it tends to break a lot of things. So personally, I avoid that at all costs. I will essentially rig the clothing. I'll take the FBX of the model out, copy and paste it out of Unity, import it into Blender, sculpt the clothes to fit the base, and then I'll delete the avatar, import the clothes into Unity, and then attach it using dressing tools, modular avatar, armature link with VRC Fury as a non-destructive way of adding to the model. I'm really talking with my hands here, and I'm sure it doesn't look good. Let me put them down. So I do want to show you a head swap because I have this lovely avatar by Bambi. I have used it before, and it's really cute, and I endorse all of their avatars. Really great avatar creator. But this one doesn't have face tracking. So I want to do a head swap and put my head, what you see here, on me. This is Bunny Sue, but I added my own face tracking to it. So we're going to put it on this model, which again, I don't recommend because when I re-import it into Unity, it's going to break a lot of things. So I'm going to essentially separate this into two portions where we do a non-destructive version and a destructive version. So if you don't want to take the risks and re-import the model back into Unity and see things break, you can just do the add clothes using VRC Fury is what I'm going to show you. Is specifically, it's as simple as having this is like the FBX for the clothing. Play pretend here with me. And then it's literally just armature link, and then you drag it onto the avatar and you're done. The clothing is rigged. And the complicated part is seeing how the creator set up the toggle system. If you're lucky, they used integers, bools, and whatnot to do their clothing toggles. But if they did something more complicated, then it's going to be a lot harder for you. If, for example, they used UV tile discards to not turn off the clothing, but essentially hide it, then this might be a little harder. So I'm going to show you how to add it with how Bambi did the toggles, but it may not necessarily be the same for yours essentially. If you have clothing that's sculpted and ready to go already, you can actually bypass Blender entirely and do just the Unity part, starting with adding the clothing using Armature Link. Let's see what we've got going on here so I know what I'm getting into when I chose this one. I would say the hardest part about editing an avatar is just trying to figure out what the heck the avatar creator did. And I've personally had to learn so much just to understand how that the UV tile discards. I'd never heard of it until I ran into one specific avatar creator who did that method. And this, I have no idea what this is going to be. That might be the clothing. Yeah, I don't see anything in here. So we're going to try the other method. Okay, the other method is going into the menu here. Toggles. Clothing. It is bools, so in an ideal situation, I'm going to avoid getting the avatar naked to be able to toggle the new clothes on, but sometimes it's just not possible. It does look like there's a bra. Yeah, there's a bra going on here. So when I add the new clothes, to prevent having to go nude, I'm going to add a blend shape to be compatible with the bikini here. I don't care if this outfit that I'm adding is going to be compatible with this sweater because I'm never going to wear them together. So I might see what it looks like with the bodysuit, but I'm mainly just worried about it being compatible with this so I don't have to get the avatar naked before I toggle on my clothes, or wear them both at the same time to avoid getting naked, and then it just looks bad. Okay, let's move on. I've done enough yapping. So I want to get right into the head swap first, and we're going to add the clothes completely separately again so you can see the non-destructive version, but I will let you know where we are separating it. So if I was doing it all destructive, I would just add the clothes right after I swap the head. Okay, so I'm going to click on the avatar here first, and then in the animator, click here so I can get the FBX. And it's going to be the first thing attached with the arrow. So it's this one, because sometimes people will have multiple FBXs, and you want to make sure you get the right one. Show and Explorer here. And I've got the FBX right here. So I'm going to copy it and then paste it. So now we've got Blender going on here, and I'm going to import the FBX. Okay, so I've got the FBX here, and the head swap, I'm going to do it as non-destructively as I can. I'm going to start by hiding everything. Please don't go nude. Let's put the bikini back on. Lower body. Oh, I lucked out. This creator put the head as its own mesh. And in this scenario, it will be a lot easier for me to do a head swap. I am going to pretend they are actually together for the sake of the video here. So let's say you've imported it and this is how it looks. All of these other meshes are attached to the body. And I have to leave them exactly as is to avoid anything breaking. So there are materials here that have to stay in that exact order. If I change anything, the amount of material slots, then it's more likely to break. So let's go ahead and import my head. Okay, so I've got the head that I want to swap it with. I'm going to keep the other one on at the moment because I want to make sure these line up perfectly. And I don't even have to resize it. It looks good. Okay, here is where I will delete the head. I am not going to separate this into separate materials because then when I recombine them, it's going to break when I re-import into Unity. So instead, I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to select the parts that I know are not part of the head. Control L to select all parts of that mesh, and then press H to hide it. Get the hair in there. Okay, I don't want the nose ring or band-aids because those won't work with my face tracking. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start deleting stuff. So I'm going to select the head. Same thing, but I'm going to hit delete instead. Make sure you keep the watermark. It doesn't matter if you edited it, they still need to be present because it is still their avatar. I think those are hair clips I'm deleting. Oh, I deleted a hair clip by accident, but it's not a big deal. I think that is all of it. What does that look like? Is that a tear? Oops. And the hair is kind of going inside the head, so I'm going to show all of it again by pressing Alt and H, and then click on the part that is inside the head. I'm going to click this button here, and then connected only, so it doesn't move anything except this one strands. When I press G, I need to zoom in so this circle is at the right scale. I don't like that it's going in my eyelashes, but my eyelashes are absolutely massive, so I'm going to move that whole piece and just turn off the connected only. And that looks good. Okay, so now I've got my head in the right spot, only the eyes and head bone. I want to combine it with the armature, but what we've got here is the old head uses skin, this material as the face. This one's the eyes, and then this one's the alpha. So I'm actually going to rename it. I'm not going to rename it. I'm going to select those. So there it was, transparent. What was the other one? That one. Eyeballs. Okay, so then when I combine them, it will combine the materials and Unity won't be able to tell that I swapped the mesh. The other thing here that becomes an issue is the eye bones. If the eye bones are in the wrong spot, then when you re-import it, the eyes are going to be broken. So I like to delete the bones on the previous armature because they're called exactly the same bones. There's no worry about it getting confused. It's more about it being in the same spot as where your head's eye bones are supposed to be. Okay, so now I'm going to merge them. Okay, so now I've got body for the head and the other one. And when I when I combine these, so I'm going to select the body part that I want to add to the original, hold Control, and then select the body, and then Control J to combine them. Now you'll see the materials are in the exact same spot that it was already. I need to make sure that the materials are in the correct spot. So if the eyeballs was first and the skin was third, then I need to move these around to be in the correct spot as the FBX was before. So again, in Unity's eyes, the only thing I actually changed was the position of the eye bones. This is where I would finish up in Blender and I'm ready to go. If I wanted to add the clothes, if I was also adding clothes, then this is where I would continue. And I would just keep going the same way I would with any other avatar. Because I'm not destroying anything here, I'm only adding two. So anything I add at this point, it's less likely to break than the head. But I'm going to go ahead and stop here so we can separate this into destructive and non-destructive routes. However, I am going to revert combining the two because this avatar, as I mentioned before, the face and the body were two different meshes. So set those back the way they were. Whether you had them separated or not, this process would be the same, but I don't want to further break my own model by keeping them combined. So let's go ahead and export directly on top of the FBX that I took from Unity and put in a temp folder. Zoom in and out so we know Blender's done loading. Cat is in the way. Okay, so if you're going to change anything at all on the model, whether it's an edit or a custom that you made yourself, if you change anything in Blender, like move a bone around, you cannot just overwrite the FBX because it is very likely to break. The bones will get confused, your eye bones will be here when they're supposed to be here. you need to just delete the FBX. And then I'm going to re-import it. and we're broken. So this is I did everything I could on my end to prevent it from breaking, and it still broke. And this is unfortunately why I avoid taking pre-existing models into Blender, because this is what happens. And to my knowledge, and unless anyone wants to fill in the comments how you would personally fix this, please let us know. I'd love to start doing this again, but this is exactly why I avoid it. I'm going to add pumpkin. Okay, so I'm just going to add it to VCC. Okay, it should be in the list now. Yeah, okay. Click back into Unity and let that re-import. Okay, we're ready to go. I'm going to click Tools, Pumpkin, Avatar Tools. I put the new FBX in Avatar and then the old FBX in Copy From. So because I had the materials exactly the same, I'm going to copy the materials here. I like to select all, make sure they're all selected, and I always deselect bounds. It'll mess up the bounds, so just have it deselected. It'll use the correct bounds from your FBX. And I keep everything I selected and copy selected. I need to make the model humanoid again. All right, so I need my eyeballs. Okay, so from here, I'm just going to change the textures. So I want to keep the material the same for a very specific reason. And that reason is the creator could have done anything. They could have done, specifically in the light data, they could have changed these settings or the shading settings. And if I just create a new material and then drag it on, it's not going to match. Very likely not going to match. And then when I go to a world in VR, the skin might be really, really dark because it's being affected by the lighting, while this new head material is not. So your best situation is to unlock the shader. And then I'm going to just drag my new texture in. I don't need any of these decals, so I'm going to reset them. I'm going to copy their settings exactly to ensure that it matches the body. So they've got a skin matte cap here with their skin texture, with their head texture here. Oh no, my face tracking. My computer is not enough to charge my iPad, so it died. I go now? Okay. Let's put the brightness on low. Okay, moving down, we've got oh, that's for the lips. Okay. I don't need that, so I'm going to just reset that, and that's not going to affect the difference with the body. And something for the tongue, we're going to get rid of that too. Rim lighting, nothing's in the rim texture. We've got something here, so we're going to put my head texture in there. Outlines, they've got a mask here. I'm too lazy to make a mask, I'm going to be honest, so I'm going to leave it blank. But if you want a mask, you're going to have to add yours in if you have one, or make one. Glitter mask, which, again, I do have glitter on my model, but I don't care. I don't care at the moment, but I would add my head's glitter mask. Oh, I think my iPad died again. Okay, I'm just going to exist with this angry expression for a bit. Okay. And we're just going to do the same thing for the other textures. I'm going to get that set up and charge my iPad. I will be back when my materials are set up. Okay, so I'm going to hide the sweater, and the main problem we have is the body does not match the head. I could go into Photoshop and make a texture, which, if you're going to unlock the face material, you need to unlock the body material too, because what could happen is you have two different versions of Poyomi, and if you unlock one but not the other, it might end up being a mismatched version, and then one of them has a shading setting that the other one doesn't. So go ahead and unlock both just to make sure there's no issues. So even if they did match, unlock it, but they don't. So I'm going to unlock it and go to color adjust here. I'm going to mess with all of the coloring here to match the head as best as I can. That seems right. Okay. Lock that and lock the head. Oh, and lock the other two materials too. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to test and make sure that that nothing broke. And I want to lock the material to ensure that no animations are gonna activate that shouldn't be by having the material unlocked. Okay, so now I've successfully done the head swap. Expressions will be broken. And who knows what else? Let's find out. Okay, we're rigged. Oh, I should have checked the eye position. Let me back up. Okay, so this is where there could be an issue because I moved the eye bone. I'm going to preview all of these. And they look good. An important thing to note is because I combined the meshes without deleting the previous shape keys, I'm going to have shape keys in here that don't exist anymore because they were on the previous head. But we have blink. And then I'm going to set these to none. Alright, I'm just going to go through all these and figure out what's broken. Okay, so I lucked out heavily. I think a big portion of it is because the head and body were separate meshes. And again, it heavily depends on how the creator set up their materials. If they did any color swaps on the body mesh, those things could be broken. Like, who knows? You might not get this lucky. This is my second time editing this avatar, and both times went very well. So if all of Bambi's avatars have head meshes separate from the body meshes, that their avatars might be a great option to practice editing. There are some avatars that have been absolute nightmares. And even after being as careful as I can, using Pumpkin, I test gesture manager and nothing works. And some things I just have to delete from the menu because I don't know how to fix it. It is what it is. You take a risk by being destructive, and it worked out this time. It was pretty flawless. Okay, so that was a head swap, and now we're going to add clothes in a non-destructive way. So, pretending from the beginning that this is me freshly importing the model, I have not made any changes to it. So I'm actually going to fully restart here. I've got this FBX, which is the one I imported, but I'm going to copy it and paste it. Okay, I have imported the FBX, and I don't care about anything on this model. All I need are the body and the lower body, which it is going to be a little annoying having the hair attached to the body. What I'm going to do is click on the body and then go into edit mode. Select part of the vertex of the body itself, Control L. Shift D to duplicate, those are boobies. Press P and click on selection, and it's going to separate the mesh into its own skin, and I don't need any of this. I'm not going to keep this or this for the record, but I need this so I can data transfer. If I data transfer with the hair attached, the clothing is going to stick to the hair. So now I'm going to start importing my stuff. Scale that down. I don't need any of these bones, so I'm going to click on the armature, press tab, make sure all of them are selected by pressing A, delete, and then get rid of those bones. Now I can actually go ahead and just merge it. Okay, time to get sculpting. If you need help knowing how to sculpt, I have a video specifically on that, which I added music to, and it does not make any money whatsoever. So, but if you're curious, go watch it. if you want to add clothes that you don't want to have to sculpt. In a lot of cases, the creator will slightly edit the base, and you may have to anyway. You're kind of taking that risk when you choose to edit an avatar. You don't really know just by looking at it if it's been edited. It could be something as simple as they make the stomach skinnier and then suddenly it doesn't fit. Like a standard clothing that specifically says that it's rigged to that base suddenly doesn't fit because the creator made a tiny change. I need this to sculpt inward, so I'm gonna select the top, Control L, and then hide it. A way to find out if you can avoid sculpting, and again, with the gamble in mind, is go to the creator's page and find out what body they're using. So it does say edited by me, no reuse for ZinFit. So check for that. If it doesn't say edited, then it could still be sculpted, edited, and whatnot, but it could potentially just be the base itself. And then when you're searching for clothing, specifically type in that base. And then, hey, those are mine. And then you can choose clothing that should ideally be rigged and ready to go for that base. Again, assuming it's not edited. Okay, moving on. I am going to actually make it match the actual body and not the bikini. So I'm going to take the bikini off. That looks good. Okay. All right, so now I've got this clothing ready to go. So I'm going to separate that into 2 separate meshes and then name this new top. And then new skirt. Okay, I need to robust weight transfer it or data transfer it to this duplicated body that I made. And then test it out. One of the big problems with editing pre-existing models non-destructively is that you cannot make blend shapes to prevent clipping. So I have to, my only option outside of creating alpha cutouts or whatnot is to just move the clothing out. It still does it when it's extreme, but not much. The elbows are definitely going to clip with how tight that is. Yeah, we've got some right there. So I'm going to go into sculpt mode because it'll stay posed with that one selected and then just click on it. So I don't need this duplicated body. We're going to go back to this one. And I want it to be compatible with the bikini. So I like to keep it the exact same name. Go to this little triangle and create a shape key. Make sure you have a basis, so you might need to make 2 shape keys. And then turn the value up to 1. And then I'm going to sculpt it so that way it is not clipping. Same thing for this one. And then drag it out. Yeah. And anything else that I want it to be compatible with, I need to make blank shapes for those 2. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of the other meshes. All I need are the new top and skirt and the body, because I am going to add some hair. Okay, so I'm going to line it up to match the head. Okay, new hair. And then it wouldn't be me if I didn't add the elf ears. I'm going to deselect merge all bones this time because I want it specifically to attach to the head bone. Alright, so when I turn the body back on, it is of course a disaster because the previous stuff is there and there's nothing I can do about it. I cannot delete it because then it would be destructive. I would have to re-import it back into Unity and potentially break things. So I have to leave it as is. And all I've got now are the new stuff. I'm going to show the armature, go into pose mode, and then select and delete. I'm going to move all of the things to the side that don't move with the new stuff. So if I move the leg, the skirt moves. So I'm not going to move that one. That is all of it. All I have now are the new bones. I'm going to apply as rest pose, go into tab mode, and then delete all of these. And now we've got a nice clean setup ready to go. And we're going to call it new stuff. And now in Unity, in the same spot where I have the FBX to keep things neat, drag it in, and then you can drag it directly into the hierarchy. It doesn't line up because the creator made the scale smaller, 0.9. So I need to make this one 0.92. And let's go ahead and apply the materials. Okay, so another thing you want to do here is take a pre-existing clothing material, duplicate it, and then I'm going to use that. Because it's the same thing as the head and body before, I want to make sure that they have the same shading settings. So I'm just going to use this one and blank slate it, delete all of these settings. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and assign all the materials. Okay, we're looking beautiful. Okay, so now I'm going to attach it to the avatar. So I click on this, add component, armature link, and then I just drag it on. And just to show you, let's go into play mode. Yeah, there we go. The clothes are rigged and ready to go. Now we do the part that I hate the most, the animation setup. So in this case, the creator used bools. And unless I were to go in and change them all to integers to make it a cleaner setup with the new clothing, I'm going to do bools too. So I select the new stuff and hide it. And you could use a toggle assistant, a v3 creator, to set up the toggles. I'm going to do VRC Fury just to show you how easy it can be. I can't type. Without having to manually create bools. So I just typed VRC Fury because I said the word. So I've got a game object here named toggles, and I'm going to add a component toggle. I want to put it in the same spot as the pre-existing clothes. So toggles, clothing, in here. So toggles, clothing, copy that because I'll need that again. And then we'll call it Sarah top. Make sure you have saved between worlds enabled. Object toggle, we're going to turn on the new top. And then Sarah skirt. Object toggle, turn on save between worlds, turn on skirt. Before I continue, I'm going to make sure those work. Okay, so they should be off by default, and they are. Bodysuit, and then turn the stuff on. Great. Okay, so this is ready to add the blend shapes to be compatible with the pre-existing items instead of having to turn it all off, including the new hair, which is going to be a fun setup. Okay, I want to start by adding the fizz bones, and I'm going to just copy the fizz bones that the creator already has. This one's hair long, so it's probably going to be settings set up for long hair. Got that copied, and then let's go into the armature of our new FBX. Hair root. Paste it in. And then some people have a root transform here, so that way it syncs on quest. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, and if I really cared, I would drag the new one in. Yeah, and because I copied it, it already has all of the collider settings ready to go. So let's edit the pre-existing animations, and I'm going to start by duplicating, moving it over, scroll down, find the FBX, and drag it in. Now, I remember which ones I made blend shapes for. I'm going to look for those animations. So we're probably talking bikini for the first one. And looking at this one, there is no second animation. Instead, they used plus and -1 to turn off the animation instead of having a second one saying bikini on, bikini off. So with that in mind, I have to have the blend shape turned on by default. And then the animation here is turning it off. So here it is on and then off. So in the first keyframe, we'll have it turn on. Second keyframe, turn off. And that's it. Now we'll go to the other one. This one is on. This one is off. Okay, so now you can't see them, by the way, because they are up here, not attached to the avatar, because you can't see VRC Fury attached armatures in preview mode. All right, now for the hair. I'm guessing they did integers for the hair, or there's only 2 hairstyles. Yeah, okay. So this one is an example of what I was mentioning before to make the cleaner. I'm going to turn this bool into an integer. So I'm looking for toggle 6. Toggle 6, turn that into an integer appearance. Okay, and then let's, I'm out of menus slots. So to fix that, I'm gonna duplicate the menu with the hair, and then in that duplicated hair menu, I'm gonna delete everything but the hair toggle that already exists. And then here, I'm gonna switch this to hair. So now instead of this being a toggle, it's a menu set up to take you to all of the toggles. Okay, and we'll call this space buns 2. I need to copy this, make sure it's exactly the same, delete it, make a new integer, and then paste it in. This will automatically find it again, but it's not set up anymore. So let's create a new one. This is gonna be, initially this is confusing for me, and I don't normally work off of toggles looking like this, so it's gonna be a bit of a back and forth to figure out what works. So off is gonna be 0, on is going to be 1, and then the new one, let's jump into this. Let's get rid of any state. I don't really get what's happening here, but I'll add another arrow to it. I need the pre-existing animation, so I'm going to duplicate it and then call it the same name, but with space buns at the end. Make sure the right defaults matches. Okay, and that's ready to edit. Go back to our duplicated model. Okay, so in the old animations, first, I'm going to take this one step at a time. In both keyframes, the new hair is off. And then in the new one, I need to turn both of these off. Or no, in the first keyframe, I'm going to have them turn on. Second keyframe, have them turn off. So now all I've got are these. Oh, and then also turn on the new hair. So off in the first keyframe, on in the second. But I've still got this annoying front bang that I have to deal with. And my personal route to fix this is alpha cutout. And again, we're getting destructive here because as soon as I unlock this material, any toggle system is going to potentially break. And you may have to go in and fix it or just accept the loss. But unlock the material, record it, and then when the space buns turn on, the cutoff goes all the way up. So now I'm bald, but the hair's up here because of VRC Fury. And then 0.5 is the default. We have to go to the other ones and set it to 0.5 on the second keyframe. And I'm not going to worry about the first keyframe. It's fine. And that should be set up and ready to go. All right, so I'm going to keep all of the new stuff on toggles, not on default. I want it to resemble the original avatar's appearance, just to avoid breaking any TOS. I know some creators say it no longer looks like the original model, then that is against their TOS. So you really need to look out for their TOS and make sure you're not breaking any rules. Some people say you're allowed to edit it to your heart's content. And then, yeah, I mean, I could delete all of these assets if I didn't care about the garter, you know? And then I don't even have to deal with it not being compatible. Okay, and then let's turn on the new clothes, and the blend shapes are activated. Yeah, if I were to turn off the bikini, you can see the blend shape being deactivated. There's a little bit of clipping as the animation happens, but I'm not worried about that. I obviously only gave myself one hair color out of my choice, but if I wanted it to follow exactly as the previous hair and all of their toggles, then I have to go into the animations and edit every single one of these to include the new hair, and I will show you that very quickly. I don't want that, so I'm not going to do all of them, but I will show you one or two. Let's do something simple. Let's do hair glitter. On the new material, make sure you click on the mesh, go down to the glitter, and what setting are they changing specifically? Glitter brightness. Max brightness? Yep, right there. So 3, I need to move it so that way I can set it back to 3, and then a second keyframe, set it to 0. And now it's part of the animation. And I would do that for every single one of these, which I am not going to, but you get the idea. It's the exact same process of looking at what setting it is they did and then just copying it for the new mesh. Okay, and aside from that little collider issue going on, we are all ready to go. The ears are a little floppy, I'll have to fix that. But now we have an edited star drop. We are all set. She's ready to be tested in game. It's also important to note to compress your textures, and you do not need them at 2K. So make sure you do that before you upload. Well, I really hope you guys liked the new changes. This thing here, I thought the other one was too bulky, but I do think it is important to show you guys what I'm pressing, so that should be here to stay. This whole camera setup is so weird, but it's really cool that I'm able to do this instead of using the VRM thing. This is obviously way better. Anyways, I had this idea for a while to make this tutorial. I have a lot of friends who want to get into creating avatars and don't know where to start, and I hope you guys are watching this video and I hope you learned something from it. That said, I am at the moment completely out of ideas for what to do for future videos, so if anyone has anything that you want to learn, feel free to put it in the comments below. Let me know in my server, and I'd be happy to see what else I can teach you guys. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!